Good morning, YouTube. My name is Amos Bro, and for this episode of the Crunchyroll review series, we are looking at the anime Diabolik Lovers. Yes. Now, this was a tricky one for me because when I did this series back on my Tumblr, well, I wasn't the world's biggest fan of it. And there was reasons for that. And we'll get into them as we get into the actual review. First, I think you might want to know what the hell Diabolik Lovers is. Well, it's another visual novel series. You know, kind of like Brothers Conflict. But in this case, we are dealing with 6 vampire brothers. And they are named as follows: Shu, Hirajai, Laito, Kanato, Aito, Subaru. Now the 6 brothers, they all have a different mother, the same father though, and the same uncle. The uncle's name is Richter. The father's name is Togo Sakamaki, otherwise known as Carl Hines. We'll get into that in a bit. The mothers are Cordelia, Beatrix, and Krista. Krista gave birth to Subaru. Beatrix gave birth to Shu and Reije. And the triplets, well, they got Cordelia. And Cordelia plays a very important part of the series. Matter of fact, within the very first episode, she is introduced. So here's what we got. Yui Komori goes to this manor at night. We'll say it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, because they don't give you an exact time, okay? When she gets there, one of the gents is actually laying on a, we'll call it like a love seat, and decides, after he gets woke up by her, that, well, first off, she's flat-chested, so he calls her Pancake, but also that he kind of wants to snack on her. Why? Well, I didn't mention this yet, but all 6 of these guys are vampire brothers. That's interesting enough in its own right. But anyway. So, he decides, well, first off, you're flat-chested, but oh, by the way, come here, I want to take a bite out of you. Only to be stopped later by the second eldest and the butler in the setup. His name is Reije. Probably one of my favorite characters in the entire series. Actually, there's a saying he's my favorite character in the entire series. It literally goes him, Subaru, and Shu. Because I found upon second viewing, Shu didn't bother me that much, really. It was the other 3 I wanted to like go and slap around a couple of times, but you know. And they do something very interesting with this series, I think. They split it into 2 halves. The first half, they decide, how badly can we piss you off? The second half, they go, okay, well, since you're stuck around, we're going to allow you now to see the characters get fleshed out. That's literally the way this series goes. No bullshit. Okay. Yui is sent to the school to be the sacrificial bride. Now, is this important in the setup? Yeah. Because you see, something happened to her apparently when she was younger that you're not told about until you get towards the end of the series. But then again, there are a lot of things that this show doesn't tell you, and there's plot holes that come out the backside. But there's a reason that this is a problem, and we'll get to that in 2 seconds. I will tell you this right now, the animation is really good. If I put it this way, before I saw Love Stage, I saw the way they did the animation here, especially the way they drew the hair for some of the characters, actually all of the characters, and I thought that was really well done. I mean, really well done. I don't know why, But seeing sometimes the way hair is drawn is kind of cool to me. Well, maybe it comes out because I have a mother who's a hairdresser. But it's just one of those things. Sometimes the way they draw it or style it, I think it's just awesome. But anywho, so the animation was really, really good. The character development for this series, okay, we're going to put this story and plot progression together for this review. The reason is because I think they were kneecapped by the time limit. They decided for this series they were going to do 12 episodes, but they were only going to give each episode 15 minutes. That's a problem. See, it's not like you're doing a show based off of like a 4-panel. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we're doing what was it? The Melancholy of Haruhi-chan Suzumaya, where they did like 3 to 5 minute episodes, because those were supposed to be, slapstick comedy, whatever. Here, this is considered like a drama series, so by giving you the show only 15 minutes, when you probably could have given them at least 20 to 23, you probably could have fit in a lot more and not have the viewer go, wait, huh? And you also, character development, you kind of can give a pass because they do eventually all, well, maybe not all of them, but at least 4 out of the 6 become kind of likable. Okay, I liked, like I said, Shu, Raijay, and Subaru, my boys. Ayato kind of grew on me. Lighto's just a creepy little fucker, and so is Kanto, actually, now that I think about it. So, you can't really look at them and go, okay, I like you. Because they don't really give you the chance to really embrace a character within 15 friggin' minutes. You know? And the worst part about this is, okay, when we did Bros Conflict, at least they managed to give characters episodes devoted to themselves pretty much. Or maybe in the second half of the series, or the second half of the episode, they gave them time so you can flesh them out a little bit. But here, because you had 15 minutes, you're like, oh, okay. And you have plot holes that, were glaring, to be honest. Like, alright, let's do this. There was one episode which was effectively Lighto's. Okay? He mentioned their father, Togo Sakamaki. Now, he's the father of all 6 of the kids. Remember that. Out of nowhere, while he's holding on to, he being Lighto's holding on to Yui's wrist, she utters the name Carl Hines. That's Togo's alias, or his other name. And you see this look of on Lighto's face. Now, that kind of does get explained later, but how does out of the blue she just blurts that name? It's really not explained. Nor is it really explained how when she's trying to call like somebody away from the school, it's not really explained how the phone number actually got back to Lighto. This is in the same episode. So there were things that were kind of and you kind of sat there and went, okay, how does this work? Because you're trying to you're trying to digest a lot of different things, and you have such a short amount of time to do it that by the time you get done the episode, you're kind of sitting there with a headache going, well, okay, how do I digest all this? Do you get what I'm saying? This was actually, believe it or not, before Sailor Moon Crystal this year, last year, I promise you, the Diabolik Lovers series went the anime. It was it was drugged through so much drama and controversy, it wasn't even funny. Because people didn't like the way Yui was portrayed, or they didn't like the way certain characters treated her, or whatever. And you sat there and you went, whoa. You know? So you almost look at that, and you look at the way, like, Sun Moon Crystal's going now, and you're like, Sun Moon Crystal, by the way, is a bi-weekly show, remember. This one was on every week for 15 minutes. It was also a Monday show, which was interesting. And they started it in September. It literally, I think, started either the week after or 2 weeks after Brothers Conflict ended last year. That was actually kind of funny. I'll have to double check this, but matter of fact, let's check it real quick, because I actually have this thing here. Let me think. Yeah, okay. September 16th, and I think it was like the week before Brothers Conflict had just ended, or it was getting ready to end. So it was kind of interesting how, like, you had these two back to back. So comparing one to the other, if it's not inevitable, you know it's going to happen. Especially if there's people that, like myself, that are we really loved Brothers Conflict, and we wanted this series to be as good as that one. Now, am I saying that Diabolik Lovers was horrible? No. I do think that they handicapped themselves by giving themselves only 15 minutes an episode. That was a huge problem. Because you see, how do you tell a story in 15 minutes? You know? Like I said, if you're doing one of those shows that has like 3 to 5 minute episodes, that's fine. If it's based off like a webcomic or whatever, that's fine. See Italia, they don't need plot progression or character development. They're slapstick. You know? What the fuck? Here, because of the characters and backstories that you probably are going to need to go into, you don't want to leave an episode and then go into another episode and go, well, what the fuck happened between here and there? Especially the way the final episode ends, it's like a cliffhanger, and you're expecting them to go into the second game, more blood, but they don't. Instead, what happens is they roll the credits about the 7-minute mark, and then the rest of it is practically the brothers individually talking to Yui, and then the ending, which I won't give away, the actual ending, and then they roll actually the opening intro of the series, which was interesting, and at the end of the show. Let me think. Like I said, the plot progression and the story progression, it moved either too quick, or it had so many holes in it that you kind of sitting there going, how does one thing lead to another? And the character development, it's there, but you have to be willing to get there. If you can get by like episode 6 or 7, you are either going to stay watching it, or you got so pissed off with it you just went, hell with this. I gutted it out and I stuck through it, and it's not bad. It's average. I would say if you're going to watch it, you have to go in with the mindset of the episodes are 15 minutes long, so if you really don't like it, they're not lasting that long, for one. But also, you have to go in there with the mindset of they aren't going to do their character development or their story progression or their plot progression the way other series do when they have 20 minutes to 24 minutes. You see, you have all these things you have to think about in your head when the show's going on. But like I said, is it bad? No. I can't really recommend it but I can't tell you not to go watch it. Do you get what I'm saying? What I will say is, if you're going to watch this, go into it with an open mind. And don't dismiss it based on the way some of the characters act towards the female, because you find out later they either grow to respect her, like her, or their feelings start to change in a way. So what we're going to say is, I'm kind of in the middle on this. Go check it out if you want to, but you're not being required to. Okay, friends? You all have a good evening. I will talk to you on Tuesday. Next Tuesday we will be doing Free Eternal Summer. Well, I'll do another video about the schedule, but I will talk to you all in a minute. Later.